Okay. All right. So now I was there to talk with a gentleman named Lee Smith. He is the museum curator. Okay. And now I have some of my dad's medals, and I thought this would be a good place to put them in this museum because he was the Canadian liaison officer at Fort Bliss from 1964 to 1967. And we have a picture of my dad getting a painting of Fort Bliss, holding it. So there would be the verification that
Mhm.
he was at Fort Bliss holding
Yeah.
this painting on,
Hmm.
that sort of stuff. So I talked to this gentleman. He was very nice, Mr. Lee Smith, the museum curator, and he explained that the museums, military museums across the United States right now are not taking in any extra stuff.
Hmm.
And his particular Fort Bliss museum was remodeling. So they had some stuff in the back.
Ah,
So
a little excess.
yeah, yeah, okay. So I have another video of inside the museum where looking at some tanks. Okay, let's show that. TK, I'm at the Fort Bliss Military Museum, and this is a German Panzer III medium tank. And there's some other tanks here. Okay, and these are the kind of little guys. There's one here. This is a Grant medium tank, and this is a Sherman tank. Those are kind of famous. Okay, these are bad boys. This one's kind of cute. It's a Jagdpanzer, self-propelled gun by the Germans. Okay, it's just a little thing. Look at that. All right, just a little teeny thing. This is a little teeny tank here, not very big. And then over here we've got some. Okay, there's a Jeep over there. And this is a tank destroyer. Okay, and this is a howitzer motor carriage. And look at this, it's got a cannon up there. And then there's the machine gun, just in case, just in case. Okay, Doug the neighbor here at the Fort Bliss Military Museum. Good fun. Take care.
Okay. Doug, those tanks are a little bit bigger than I remember, but then I've never been on one before. But are they hard to park, you think? How many quarters do you put in the meter when you park those things?
Well, I guess with that tank, a couple of those tanks, you can park wherever you want.
Of course. What am I thinking?
And
Just have a little
somebody's in
brain
your
burp here.
somebody's in your spot. No, they're not. Just, you know, there were some bad boys there, and the video will show, Okay. Now, Lee Smith was very, very nice. He explained a few things. We had a nice chat, and he showed me what was there. Okay.
Mhm.
So I asked him the next thing of, well, sir, I'd like to go to the Fort Bliss Military Cemetery. Okay. And he said, oh, then he said, you got to go out this gate and you got to go around here to get into the here. I said,
Mhm.
okay, all right, fine. But it was easier than I thought. But now I'm at the third person telling me this gate, go for
Yeah.
So I get there. So I go to the Fort Bliss National Military Museum, or
Mhm.
cemetery. I'm sorry, cemetery. Okay. Now, I have and one of my high school buddies suffered a heart attack at age 44. So I went there on a mission to see his his
Mhm.
grave. And I have a video not of his grave, but of the expanse of this. And let
Of
me
the
tell you,
cemetery.
every American should go to one of these military museums, excuse me, cemeteries, to see the sacrifice, how many of our Americans sacrificed so that we could live the life we live. It was
Exactly. exactly. You know, people talk about Arlington Cemetery, but there's one here in Dallas. It's a beautiful place. I've been there, and you know, it's sacred ground. That's all I say. It's sacred ground, and you're right. You just put it in perspective that these people just didn't buy a plot and
Yeah,
you know, get
yeah,
put in there. These people, you know,
right,
dedicated their lives.
right. So it was something. It was something. Had a moment looking at my uh, the grave of my high school buddy Doug Boyce. TK, I'm at the Fort Bliss Military Cemetery where our men and women in service gave their lives for our great country. They are laid to rest in hallowed ground. It is absolutely mind-bending and overwhelming at the number of people who have given their lives so we may enjoy our freedoms. This is our 250th year of our great country of America, and every American should come here to the Fort Bliss National Cemetery. Absolutely awesome, 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 awesome. What these people have done for our country and the ultimate sacrifice. He was a commander in the Navy, a medical doctor in the Navy,
Mhm.
and in high school, he would always call me Chops. That was my nickname, Chops. He was the only one who called me that. And I never knew why he would call me Chops. Hey, Chops. And because he was a fun guy and he was really smart. He was a really smart guy. Well, compared to me, you know, but, and he always called me Chops. And I never understood why he called me Chops. And I left El Paso and he went on to college. But I have this vision of him calling me Chops. And so
That's what happens when you go to a place like that. You get things come back that you never thought of in 50 years.
absolutely true. And there I was for a solemn moment with my friend Doug Boyce. He
Well, I'm
served.
glad you got to do that.
Yes, I'm very happy to do that. Now, these were little trips during the day in my time in El Paso. And since I was on a cemetery run, I wanted to get them all done early because I knew I was going to be having some fun. So I went to the museum and then the Fort Bliss Museum. But I had some family members that, not, excuse me, I had a family that had been very good to me while I was in high school and college. And Dr. Carnes passed in 2008, and then Mrs. Carnes passed last year. So this was an opportunity to go to their cemetery and see and pay homage to them. They were very good people. Now, this story, because I'm going there with this, it's an odd story. So bear with me, okay? And I'm not trying to make this funny. I'm just trying to tell the story of a mission of mercy and remembrance for fine people, okay?
Hmm.
And they are buried at Reslawn, which is
Uh-huh.
in northeast Dallas. Excuse me, El Paso.
Yeah.
I need some Dr. Pepper.
Get your Dr. Pepper. I want to have one too. Been a
Yeah,
while. Need
yeah.
to
My tongue's wandering all over my mouth here, you see. So I'm going to Restland and I go to the office and I
hmm
go to the office and I say, the lady there, 45, 50 years old, said, I'm looking for the crypt of Dr. and Mrs. Carnes. They're not buried, they're in a mausoleum.
hmm
Okay. And she's got the computer there. She looks away and she says, well, how do you spell their name again? I had to write it out, blah, 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 blah. Oh. What's DR stand for? Doctor, doctor. She asked me, what's it say? I don't know. Dr. Carn, DR, doctor. So she looks for a while, then she turns and she opens this book that was an old style ledger, where the handwriting has to be perfect and and it's old style ledger. And she goes to Dr. Carnes here. Now he was only buried in 2008.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So this thing is 18 years old, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
18 years
Yeah.
old. But here's this book that could have come out of the 1880s. And
Yeah.
she looks up the guy, Dr. Carnes' name, and then she goes back to the computer. Oh, they are buried, or excuse me, in a crypt number 196. And she gives me the map. Okay, 196. I said, well, thank you very much. So I go over to the mausoleum, and the mausoleum is a big structure and marble walls, and then you slide the body and so there, and then the names are on it. So I walk on in and I take like 3 steps. I don't see any numbers on the crypts. None. I take a few more steps in there, look over to the left. I don't see any numbers on the crypt. And then I go wandering around and I don't see any numbers on the crypt. So I get on the phone and she handed me this piece of paper. And let me tell you, the phone number at the bottom here, I had to take a photo of it because it was so small and then expand it and dialed her up. And I said, and they got the lady. I said, well, I'm over here at the mausoleum. I can't find number 196. How do I know? We'll send somebody over. So this nice young coworker, gardener or maintenance guy comes on over. And I said, I'm looking for 196. And he wanders around and he goes, there it is right there. I said, well, how'd you know that? He said, well, I work here. But how would the tourist know that? How would someone who's come to pay their respects? And sure enough, there's no numbers around here. So I just like, oh my God, oh my God.
Douglas, I think you were set up. I think
I,
that kid just walked around there for a while and goes, okay,
yeah,
which crip are we going to use today?
I,
That's what you would have done. That you would have done that. If that,
I would have put post-it notes with numbers there because I've already wandered around. I said, come on, make it easy for these people. And so, people can go there at night and they're locked it up at 10 o'clock at night or something like
yeah.
that. Lights. So, but that was that incident. Now, let me back up a little bit. So I drive up to northeast El Paso and I find the Rest Lawn Cemetery. And I'm slowly creeping. I'm driving and I notice some squirrels scamper across there. And the first thing I noticed was, well, that's a fat little squirrel. A couple of them. Oh, they're little fatties. This is fat squirrels. I'll just blow it off. So I drive a little bit more. There's one or two there one going that way and one going. Oh, they're little fatties. Oh my God, they're fat little squirrels. Because here in Austin we got some squirrels, but they're kind of skinny, because they're fattening up for winter. So anyway,
Yeah.
so here's some fatties. Oh, that's fatties. So driving along, and then I walk back to the mausoleum up there, and I see the squirrels are burrowing squirrels. They're burrowing into the ground of a
Uh,
cemetery. And I go, oh, maybe that's why they're getting so fat.
maybe it's sort of like a groundhog, but it's just a squirrel groundhog.
With lots of food down there to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's my story to you concerning this, because we can't put it out in the galaxy that there's squirrels there eating bodies at Restland.
Yeah. Well, Douglas,
Yeah.
let the galaxy use their own imagination.
I, oh, that's why they're fat.
Mhm.
So now what was kind of interesting is during the day, I went to the L&J restaurant, which is just a terrific Mexican food restaurant in El Paso. And I believe we have a picture of what you're talking about. Okay. Now, the L&J restaurant is right next to Concordia Cemetery. Now, it sounds like I'm on a cemetery tour, but it's just right there. And this cemetery is rather famous because it dates back to the early days of El Paso, like the 1600s and the 1700s, and they have some older graves there. It's been
Mhm.
around a long time. And the Jewish cemetery is off to the corner, so it's a major cemetery. Okay,
Mhm.
in in uh, in El Paso. But what's more interesting about it is also the burial place of John Wesley Hardin. And John Wesley Hardin is a real live but dead Texas bad man. They have written books about this guy and movies about this guy because they have documented that he killed 42 people. He was a
He
bad
bad
dude.
boy.
Yeah. And we have a video of that, and we'll show that right now. Now, he was famous not only during his life, because they captured him down in Florida. The Texas Rangers went to Florida, captured him there, brought him back, put him in jail for only 10 years, because that's all they convict him on. And he became a lawyer, and then he came back to El Paso, and then he was killed by a man named Selden or something like that. Selman. Uh, and it's El Paso lore. Now, this is the 1895 that he was killed. So, but they buried him there. But even in death, he was a legend because years later, some crazy yahoos and cowboys decided to steal his body and do something with it. So when you go to this grave, it's in a cage. The whole thing is crazy. He's buried, but it's in a cage. TK, I'm in El Paso, Texas at the Concordia Cemetery at the grave of John Wesley Hardin. He is a real live cowboy bad guy. I mean, he was bad. He is documented to have killed 42 people, spent time in prison and learned how to be a lawyer, and then came to El Paso where he was killed in about 1895. Now, this is his grave site here at the Concordia Cemetery. Now, even in death, he was legendary because they tried to steal his grave, his body, his remains. Thus, it was put into this cage-like situation to protect it. Now, he is a real live bad guy, John Wesley Hardin, okay, here in El Paso, Texas. So, and it's something to see that,
It
so.
really is. That's you know, that's just the way to call. That's a new phrase for a captive audience in the cemetery.
Captive audience in the cemetery, yes. So then, and it's El Paso lore, and when you hear that out in the West Texas town of El Paso, that's really was it. And
Mhm.
Pancho Villa wandered around there, and Billy the Kid wrote it. And you can say, well, it's only in the movies. No, in El Paso, they got bullet holes, and this happened here, and that sort of stuff. They really work it, that sort of stuff. Now, went to another Mexican food place for lunch called Avila's, and got some. That's got a maybe we can get a logo. It's called Avila's, and got some. That's got a maybe we can get a logo, and I've got a video of a picture of their food there. That was really good. That was really good. Okay. Now, one of the situations that why I was in El Paso dealing with my fraternity brothers, and it was good to see them. We paid for a party room between two rooms so we could set up some poker tables. Now we're talking penny ante poker. And I used to I watch these, and I'm not a card player, I don't have, but these guys, spend all their Saturday nights playing card games, and a couple of them are cowboys. Junior Campbell's a cowboy, so he's traveled, playing poker. But I call it little girl poker because each time they passed the deck to deal, okay, they all had their own rules and their own game. Now, I've heard a 5 card stud, but I'd never heard a Chicago 7 card stud pass the trash. And then one of them was, okay, 3s, 6s, and 9s are wild. Black 4s are wild. Pass the trash, 3, 2, 1, 3 cards, 1 and 2 cards. And then something else, $1 to get in, and each guy had their own rules for their game, and then they spent the game playing their version of poker, trying to understand now what's the rule again. What? Oh, I know you got to roll this card. No, you pass that one and roll that one, and so
That's too confusing, Douglas.
I
That's,
know. All right.
that's,
Well,
I think
that
you're
made
right. Stay out of those games because
Yeah,
if
I
you,
sat on the sidelines. There's about 4 or 5 of us that sat on the sidelines and just listened to this banter. Now, these guys were playing poker back in college.
hmm
Okay. So it was just a flashback to then. So they've been giving BS back to each other, and just stuff was flying, you know. And now what 3s are what? Something like that. And oh, my buddy Daryl, he was sitting there. I remember it was like the second hand in. He had a royal flush. He had a royal flush. Yeah. And everyone's looking at it. And then Junior turned over 5 2s. And Daryl just stood there and he said, Junior, your chips, your cards, your game, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just was wild. He was just stunned, He said, I've never had a royal flush in my game. So that sort of stuff, and we're
Mhm.
in a party room and, it's 20 feet from the men's room, that sort of stuff. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so it was really, really good fun. But I want to bring up something that was terrific. It happened. Steve, my fraternity brother Steve, he kind of mother hand organized this whole thing. Yeah. And I kept saying, man, it was like organizing chickens,
Mhm.
or kittens, you know. And he said, man, how can I help you? That sort of stuff. And,
Mhm.
people pitched in some bottles of wine. I brought in a couple of cases, that sort
Mhm.
of stuff. Everybody
Mhm.
pitched in. So,
Yeah.
and then he would clean up and that sort of stuff because there would be not Animal House style beer cans all over, but it had to be cleaned up, that sort of stuff. And so he came down from New Mexico, and he had some food for us, okay, and they were really good. He had these pralines, okay,
Mhm.
pralines that were just really good, and he had something called cheesecake sopapillas with honey. Cheesecake sopapillas with honey. And I said these, and I went through, I probably went through half a box, just like through.
Yeah.
And I said, well, are you now cooking? He said, no, my wife Maureen is makes this sort of stuff. I said, well, it's really good. And I
Mhm.
brought some home, and I said, does she have a little company? And she said, no. And I said, well, she should. She should.
Mhm.
She should. You could call them Maureen's Pralines.
There you go. Isn't that
So,
clever?
and Maureen's Pralines, you see. And so I'm eating yours. I'm eating yours.
That's
Sorry.
okay. That's all right. Because I drank your beer last night.
You can have it after I was swimming in it this weekend. I'm on yogurt and water. Apples, So Maureen's pralines, they're quite good, and I'm going to make sure that this podcast gets to Steve. That we did mention his wife, and they're really, really good, especially the cheesecake
Sophia's. Oh, they're both of them, just both of them. Okay, so that is at night we would go during at lunch. We go out for lunch, L&J, Avila's, a couple other places, and then at dinner we go out and have a dinner, and then back to cards.
Mhm.
One of the other things that the reason I was there, and you know why, because Saturday, June 13th, is the top of Possum Trot Flipper Walk. You were there last year, benefiting Dell Children's. This is our 6th year, and we have some really cool flyers. Maybe
Is that your new art department? Did they put that together for you?
No, the art department. This is the A-team art department. This is EP, who's 19 years old, and we have some. This particular one, and we have some from TWOW, who's 14 years old.
Ah,
Put them on the payroll. There you go. So that's what we do. Now, the Papa Possum Trot Flipper Walk, our 6th year for Dell Children. That's why I'm wearing my little uniform. People ask me, there's a hole in the hat there, and that's because I think too much. And my outfit, I'm ready. I've been practicing.
so Doug, I want to send you some money. Where do I donate to your cause?
If you go to GoFundMe and look up 6th annual Top of Possum Trot Flipper Walk on
Okay.
GoFundMe.
Okay.
6th annual Top of Possum Trot Flipper Walk. You can donate money there. Now we flip up those 2 vicious hills in scuba flippers, their 6th year, and the winner gets the prestigious Bluebell bucket.
Yes.
Prestigious Bluebell.
Very prestigious. I remember last year when the winner was just so happy, and
we had co-winners. We had Maggie and we had Blair, who's 5 years old. Maggie, and also they get the Longhorn, the flip off Big C keychain with the Longhorn on it. So it's a serious situation, and I have been out passing out flyers in my bucket here. They're walking along in my bucket, working at it, and handing out the flyers to all the neighbors, doing that. So looking forward to the Top of Possum Trot Flipper Walk. And while I was in El Paso, I shot a video up on Rim Road. Okay. So we'll play that video. Hi, I'm Doug the Neighbor, and I'm out here in the West Texas town of El Paso, Texas, my hometown, and I'm here to promote the Top of Possum Trot Flipper Walk, where we walk up those 2 vicious hills up Possum Trot in awesome Austin, Texas, benefiting Dell Children's Cancer Fund to flip off Big C. Come flip, come cheer, come donate. I'm Doug the Neighbor. Flip off Big C from El Paso, Texas. Up on Rim Road to promote the Top of Possum Trot Walk. Okay. And also I got this cool refrigerator magnet, to add to my collection for El Paso. I've got 19 of them. I didn't realize I had so many of them.
All from El Paso?
No, just this one from El Paso. Most of them are from places in Texas. You're at the airport and you forgot to get somebody something nice and yourself. Well, refrigerator magnets are cheap and they go in the bag immediately. So.
Well, and back in the day, it was always little spoons, little spoons.
Oh yeah, spoons. Yes, yeah. Don't see much of that anymore, but that's.
I think what happened Now, this is speculation that those spoons have found a different utility than being in a little box on the wall. But that's just, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Or the price of silver skyrockets. Screw the spoon.
Yeah, exactly. It's more valuable scrap.
Grandma's spoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so it was a great trip, promoting the top of Possum Trot Flipper Walk. It was a great trip. Seeing my brothers, fraternity brothers, after so many years, and it was a great trip. Taking photos of the old houses and high school where we went, and well, photos where my friends lived in our neighborhood of Eastwood.
Mhm.
Seeing the tanks at Fort Bliss, going to the military cemetery, but that was something. That was
Yeah.
something. That was really something. Great Mexican food. Had a great time. And then I come back. All right, first day back, I have to do some work, getting everything all together. Hang on just a second. Getting paperwork, receipts that together, right? You know, that sort of stuff. So I have to staple them and all. Remember my cool stapler, cowboy blue stapler. So I have to staple. Well, when I bought it, the guy at Office Depot loaded it up with staples and said, "Oh, great." And he gave me this box where the staples are. Okay. Well, I couldn't figure out how to open the box. There's no tab here. There's no tab here. There's no hinges over here. There's nothing here. So I had my little pen trying to figure it on out for about a half hour until I got frustrated. And then I just broke it. I just broke it.
Doug, there's a YouTube channel that shows you how to do that.
Well, swing line, let me tell you, the SF3 Staples premium box, they got to put open here sign, they got to put press here sign. I worked at this. So I'm now back to real life in awesome Austin,
In other
Texas.
words, the party's over.
The party's over. The El Paso party's over. We have the top of Possum Trot Flipper Walk on Saturday morning. I'm really looking forward to it. In the meantime, I got some cheesecake sofapillas, and I'm really good to see it, TK. That's what I got for you. Play ball.
Aaron Gobra.